I know today is an interesting day because a lot of you guys have been having crazy weeks. It's crazy. People in the real estate industry, a lot of you guys have kids, so this is one of those weeks. It's been crazy for me, and I don't even have kids, so I don't even have a spring break, so I feel for everybody. But traffic's a little lighter without people in school, so. All right, you guys ready to start this thing or what? All right, welcome everybody to the 83, had to do the math this morning, sessions of Masterclass. This is MasterclassCFL, formerly Masterclass Orlando. And for those of you that haven't been here before, we started this thing 83 sessions ago, so like 8, 9 years ago during the World Cup, so that was 2018. So May 2018, we started this thing, and the reason is really simple. There weren't any places where agents were getting together and sharing what they're doing without an ulterior motive. Everybody was either not sharing what they're doing, or they're trying to recruit you to their brokerage or trying to sell you something. So we realized that being neutral and being in media but being connected with all the top agents, for those of you that don't know Orlando Real Producers, we make a magazine that goes exclusively to the top 500 agents in Greater Orlando each and every year. In fact, we're about to hit our 100th edition in May. So we've been doing this for a while. Y'all can clap. And it's really the partners in the room that make this thing happen. We've got about 90 advertising partners, even though you can't see them all here. And there's about a dozen of them that made today happen. But if you meet anyone in this room that does something other than real estate, they most likely are not here by accident, unless they snuck in and we didn't catch them. But they're usually the best of the best. So if you meet a lender, a title, an inspector, insurance, a real estate photographer, you name it, they're going to be someone that was personally vouched for and recommended by agents in the top 3% in Greater Orlando. They've been vetted, they've committed to the platform, and they don't bring us bagels or donuts. They commit to supporting this thing for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years at a time. So that means they really want to know you guys, and they're committed to doing a good job for you. So the cool thing about someone that's so committed is even when things aren't perfect, they're going to make it right because they're not going anywhere. So these are the people in the room you're going to want to know because they'll help you grow your business. So quick round of applause, quick show of hands actually. If you're one of our preferred partners, raise your hand. If you're not, just clap for them real quick. So I got a handful of them that made today happen. Some of them aren't here because, as you can imagine, it's spring break. I'm going to just have them all kind of line up. If you guys could come on down, partners. I'm going to let you guys come down here. If you guys could, they're all going to take 60 seconds, which isn't very long, to tell you who they are and what they do. Make sure you follow them, shout them out, take a picture, whatever you got to do. Make sure you meet them after. And I'm just going to let them all do this thing. I'll start with you, Shay.
Am I on? Am I?
Also, left button will turn you on.
Hey, y'all. Well, y'all look good today. Hi, can I just go? All right, we're on. How are you guys? I am Shay Walker. If I'm a stranger to you, I'm a brand photographer. That means you call me for all the good images of yourself to make a good first impression. Because we know at this point it takes our audience under a second to get a first impression of us when they're looking at our marketing. They want to know if you're trustworthy, if your messaging is genuine, if you're someone they can relate to and reach out to. In my vibe session, which is my branding photo shoot, we're taking into account all of that. I'm giving you poses, ideas, you know how to use the images afterwards. It's not an overly perfect pose where your messaging won't match it. It looks candid, authentic, and you. I own a brand studio as well, The Vibe Creative. I do a lot of my sessions in there. It can accommodate bigger teams. It has a video and podcast studio within it, so it's all-inclusive, one-stop shop. To know more about me, I would just go to my Instagram. You can see my work. You can see who I work with. A lot of the panelists here, too. They are my squad. And just what I do. So you can reach out to me there. Super, super laid back and easy. Just chat with me there, and I hope to vibe with some of you guys soon.
Good morning. Stacy Luna with Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group. I want to first shout out to Aaron for putting this together because this is, I think, one of the most important meetings that you guys can come to on a regular basis. So always, I would try to walk away from here with one tidbit, right? Just one little thing. So Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group is a direct lender right here in Central Florida. We've been in business for almost 30 years. I've been in business for almost 30 years. It's not my company. I just work there. And yeah, that would be crazy. Anyway, as one of our pillars that we support is genuinely caring about everybody that we work with, about being within our community, inspiring growth, and creating fun. And Orlando Beer Producers is all that, okay? It really is all that. So I think it's great the way that we've aligned with them. And a little fun fact about me, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a banker, or I thought I did. I like playing with money and paper clips. How many people like paper clips? Anyone? I like money too, yeah. But the funny part about that is, Shay, is that now I am a banker. I work with millions of dollars every single month, and I never get to touch the money. It's so wrong. But anyway, we do have a lot of fun. I will tell you this. There's nothing, you can't get back your time, okay? So be here, be present, listen to what all these experts up here have to share with you, and pull away one thing, just one thing, right? And because your work as a real estate person or in the home buying business is so important to our world, okay? What we do is important. You're creating wealth for people that they have no idea that they're even doing it, most of them, okay? So we want to be a part of that. If you're looking for a fund lender to be on your team, please see me after the event. Thanks.
Love it. All right. Mike is going to keep us going, but let's give a quick shout out because he's lost his voice in the back. But can we give it just a round of applause to the Red Door title team? Make sure you visit them. They're not going to talk, but they'll be there. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Mike Schmidt with Central Florida Building Inspectors. Last year, we did close to 6,100 inspections all across Central Florida. We currently have 19 inspectors and are looking to grow out to 25 this year to meet your needs. I know the market is scary and terrifying right now. We feel these things too. We see them. But there is still a lot of real estate closing. And that tells me that you are all out there working hard. So while everyone else is out there on vacation right now, you're here learning and mastering your craft. So take a moment to give yourself a pat on the back. Take that vote of confidence that you need and that nugget that you're going to learn here today and go out and get the deal that's going to lead to the next deal and lead to the next deal. So if you need a home inspection along the way, commercial or residential, we're here for you anywhere in Central Florida. Have a great day.
Good morning, everybody. I am Jocelyn Christensen. I am with Home First Lending. Excited to see everybody. Like he said, I think showing up on spring break week is the first part of showing that you are in it to win it this year. So congratulations for showing up. We are excited to be here today. I think the one thing that you're all here is to learn about from the speakers is that obviously growing a team, right? And one of the big parts of growing a team is having the right tools to ensure that your team is going to be successful. And one of those tools is a preferred lender. So obviously when it comes to making sure that your buyers, even your sellers, are in the best position to be able to purchase a home, that's all part of it, and that's what we're here for. Provide solutions, come up with ways that not only we can support you as your preferred lender for your buyers, but how can we also help you with your listings, right? Listings are hot right now. You probably have 6 listings for every 1 buyer, right? So let's find ways that we can work together and find a solution to get those houses sold, but also get buyers into homes. And we would love to work with you as your preferred lender. We work with multiple of the speakers today. And so come find us, come speak to us. We got Home First Lending in the house, and we would love to help you guys grow your business this year.
Good morning, everyone. Kurt Kramer with Sorensen Moving. We are a Mayflower van line agent. I handle all things on the residential side of the business. So if you have any clients or needs for anybody moving locally, cross country, if they need storage, if they're moving internationally, or if they need to declutter to get ready, send them my way. I'm in the corner over there, so come see me. One with the big Gator Cup there, and it's tourney time, and I'm a huge Gator fan, so go Gators.
Who is right? Good morning, you guys. Christy Keene with DeVore Design. We are in a room full of amazing professionals, and I'm not going to waste a bunch of time with telling you how amazing we are, because if you've used us, you already know that. I'm going to tell you a little teeny short story. I promise it'll be quick wherever Aaron's at. So yesterday we had a client who had media scheduled, and first thing in the morning, his photographer had a medical emergency, and we all went, oh crap. But it's okay, because we had like 39 more on the list. Of course, we're a little busy yesterday. We were able to get somebody else scheduled. On his way to the listing, I'm not gonna tell you guys what it is, because it might be haunted, but he got in a car wreck, so I had 2 down. But we still had more. So we were still able to put somebody right into that spot. And the reason I tell you that is, before DeVore Design, as a realtor, just like a lot of you in this room, I had my guy, and I love my guy, and I know his wife and his kids and the whole family and all of those things. But if he had had a wreck on the way to my listing appointment, tough luck, right? So if you've got a photographer that's absolutely amazing, but he's a one-man shop, introduce him to me because I could use some more photographers at the company. There'll be a QR code at some point up here. It gets you guys a discount on our services, whether you're a new customer, old customer, or you just want to come back to us. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys learn a ton today.
You right up there, buddy? All right. Hey, what's happening, people? All right, energy. So Heather Hurry, Pillar to Post, the Jeff Mackey team, home and commercial inspections. I want you all to repeat something after me. Are you cool with that? Okay, say, I'm too blessed to be stressed. Now just live by that. You know what I'm saying? So we know the market is crazy. There's roller coaster rides, but here's the deal. At 25 years of experience, we're used to roller coaster rides, right? It's all about consistency. It's all about communication. And if you're in my business, it's all about not raising red flags and being an alarmist. All right, so that's all I'm gonna say about this. You guys know where to come if you need me. I know a lot of you in the room. I'm so happy that you're here. And by a raise of hands, just real quick, who is familiar with Pillar to Post or has utilized us? That's a lot of hands, which is why we're here. It's because of you. So I am grateful. Have a great masterclass.
All right. Y'all ready to roll? I'll wait 1 second. I'll grab that from you. All right. Also, we give a shout out to a few of the other sponsors who didn't make it here. I'll just try to read them off the screen just to make this easy. Where's the team with Blue Haven Pools? They're here. You guys want to talk? You got 60 seconds if you want it. Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, they're here. Yeah, you guys want to meet? Let's give it up for Blue Haven Pools.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Amber with Blue Haven Pools. This is our first attendance of a masterclass. So we were a little unsure of what was happening, but we're super excited to be here. How many of you guys have heard of Blue Haven Pools? Oh my God. Okay. That was actually more than I expected. That makes my heart happy. All right, so we've been around for a while. We've built probably over 20,000 pools in the last 25 years. We are not the new kids on the block. We've been building them for a while, and we've just now kind of really started focusing on new partnerships, growing to be the #1 in the market. And really, one way to do that is by hooking up with rock stars, awesome people like you guys. But that's it. Custom Gunite Pools, Blue Haven Pools. Hope you guys have the best day.
Love it. All right. And then I'm just going to, oh wait, that's last month's flyer. So I was about to read that, or that's next month's flyer. I'm about to read all the wrong sponsors. But real fast, I want to give a quick shout out to Florida Home Photo, to Artesian Title, and is anyone else missing on here? Assured Partners, Artesian Title. I think that's it. Let's give them a round of applause, all the sponsors today. If I screwed anybody up, they should have been here, right? All right, let's kick this thing off. I was going to start with Chris Feemster, but he's racing across town. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring up the person that I think everyone's most excited to hear from. So Luann Leventhal sold 100 plus. And by the way, I'm kidding to all the other sponsors. I just was, I just wanted to give her a good intro. So she sold over $33 million with 91 units last year. She's been in the top 500, the top 250, and the top 100 year after year over the last couple of years. Sold over 100 units last year as a team. And let's just launch her own brokerage, Orange Slice Properties. Let's give it up for Luann Leventhal. All right, I'm going to start with her, and then we're going to bring up the rest of them. So let's go to the very beginning. How did you get into real estate, and how did you get into deciding it was time to build a team?
Just coming out with the questions right away. Good morning, everybody. Hey, y'all. So kind of got into real estate by accident. I got into real estate because I actually speak Portuguese. And I got a random call, and they were like, hey, we need somebody to come sit in this new construction. You know, we know you're in school. You want to be a teacher, whatever. Can you get your license in 2 weeks? And I was like, all right, fine. I guess I'll do it then. So I got my license. Sold out basically that community. They tried to put me on salary, and I was like, nah, not doing that. So moved over to resale and kind of started from scratch. I worked at a boutique brokerage, kind of capped around 13 million, and then I got acquired by Compass, which was great. I started the List with Blue team there, which was like one of the best experiences of my life for sure. I think that it just makes sense to build a team when you're just too busy to do it all yourself, like when you have that overflow of leads, right? So every listing I have now, I co-list with a team member, and I think we're up to 14 agents on the team right now. Obviously left Compass like 2 weeks ago, which has been super exciting. And now, launching our own brokerage in addition to the List with Lou team, which does still stand, of course.
Got
Did
it.
I get everything? I think I did.
So you have your own team and your own brokerage.
Yes.
And it started with just having too much.
Yes.
Tell everyone a little bit about how you knew it was too much for you to handle versus needing to fix your systems.
Yeah, so it was, I guess, 2020. The market was like really weird. Obviously, that was like COVID times. And I was kind of like, am I going to ride this wave and just kind of get through it? Or am I going to Band-Aid rip my business and do something really different? So I kind of just sat with it, and I was like, I'm just going to be List with Lou. And I hadn't actually listed that many homes at that time. I wasn't really a heavy listing agent. I was a buyer's agent. And I was like, I'm just going to go for it. Like, I'm going to brand it. I'm going to buy the domain. I'm going to do the Instagram, the whole thing. And it worked, which is kind of crazy. It worked. So I kind of just started to really dominate with listings. And I'm really, really heavy on farming. That's really effective for me. And it did just get to a point where I was carrying too many, and I needed to be able to kind of offload some of my listings or partner with somebody on some of my listings. The second part of that for me, though, is that I really do love pouring into agents. I like watching them implement things and seeing them build their own lead sources, seeing them build their own brands and businesses. I think you always have to leave people better than you found them. And I think that good agents are excellent community builders. So that's definitely something that we've worked with in building both of these brands, I think.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about the steps. You talked about farming, so I want to hear about actually what you did to build your farm well.
I am like, y'all, I don't like to toot my own horn too much, but I'm a master farmer. Farming is like literally my favorite thing. If you do not have a farm in this business, you do not have an identity. I think it is the most consistent pillar that you can implement into your business. So, it's super boring, but you got to get excited about it because it's great when it's just kind of naturally coming in, right? So there has to be a plan when it comes to that farming, and I do build my plan about 12 months out. Madeline's one of our agents that's implemented a really solid farming plan, and she's totally been able to dominate with the plan that we've kind of put together, right, over the last few months. So it really works if you do. But I think, again, it's really important to deep dive on that community level and get involved. It's not just like send out some postcards. Like, that's super boring. Nobody wants that, right? We know what we do with those postcards. Now, do we do it? Of course. But if you're going to do it, make it top tier, right? So I think in that, you're farming right if everybody knows you at the Publix, right? If they don't know you at Publix, you're not farming enough, you're not doing enough. That's how recognizable you need to be in your farm, right? So it's going to be an in-person level, like I said, hosting those events, sponsoring things in the community if you can. It's definitely going to be, obviously, sending out those boring postcards, doing really, really high-level open houses. Open houses are like an interview for other sellers, and I know a lot of agents don't like to do open houses, but our open houses sell our listings, but more importantly, they get us more listings because we're doing them at a really high level. Right, so I think there's a lot of things that you can do there to double down on that farm and make it grow faster so that you don't need that typical 8-touch point plan to get a return on your investment.
You keep bringing up stuff, so I'm just going to ask about it. Let's talk about what makes open houses, what makes them done right.
Well,
what are the steps
first
to
of all,
doing
be in a
one
good mood
right?
when you get there. Let me just say that. When I walk into an open house and somebody's like smoking a cigarette on the back porch, I'm like, this house is never going to sell. This is terrible. So let's just start with a good attitude. That's a good start. Outside of that, we do an outside setup at our open houses. That's kind of like our secret sauce, and we make it really fun. So I love to do a theme. I love to treat it like an event. I love to collaborate with other agents. So we're kind of known for setting everything up and just inviting other agents to join in. Right?
What's an outside setup, just to make sure everyone
an outside
follows?
setup is like, make it cute. Like, we do a table, we do music, we're going to do food, we're going to have beers, we're going to have mimosas. Like, we want to be your friend, right?
So they don't have to come into the house.
They don't even have to come in.
Is what I'm hearing,
now,
just to
they're
make
gonna
sure we're
come
all on
in.
the same page.
Yeah.
You have something set up outside so that they're not walking through a door first, they're walking right up to you.
Yeah, and first of all, it's like...
And you can pull people in, I'm assuming.
Exactly. People are nosy. They want to know what's going on, right? And we had an open house where the seller fired their agent and hired our agent because our open house was so dang good, right? So if you're going to do it, again, just do it at 100%. Now, kind of get your setup ready. You can rinse and repeat. That's what's really cool. But pull in other listings too, right? Like we're kind of known for doing the Epcot open house. We'll pull in like 6 different listings we have in the neighborhood. I think you know it then. Different foods, different countries, different stations, make it really fun for people to get engaged. And, you know, we collaborate with those agents and we get so much more traffic that way. So make it an event, make it fun.
I love it. Any other goods you've done at open houses that are worth sharing? By the way, there's a. I was about to say it's to your left. I was like, I'm not sure if it's too far to the left.
Okay.
Let's go over maybe other things you're doing to make open houses efficient or fun, either or. Whether it's your sign-in or whether it's your follow-up process or whether it's the technology you use. What are some of the things that you're doing?
We're not doing a lot of technology at open houses. I do have like a little camera. I don't know. I think it's called like a nebula. And sometimes I'll put like a slideshow in the house on like a wall, you know, with all the key features. I think it's also really important to make sure that we're educating people on location, points of interest, because especially in my area, like a house is a house is a house. Like they're not very special. So we've got to be able to tell a story in a different way, and I think every house does have a story. Like, you have to be borderline obsessed. Like, that's kind of the approach. And if you feel like you're not obsessed, then you need to go out and find some inspiration so you can bring that back into your business. Like, you have to be that dang excited every Saturday when you go do that open house. That's really the magic. People can feel it. They can feel when it's like half-assed, excuse my French, and they can feel when it's 100%. So you've really just got to... There's no magic to it. You are the magic, right? So just bring that energy.
And I'm hearing every Saturday you're doing an open house, too.
Well, not
That's part
me
of
now, but I do a lot of Saturdays, you know, and I will support my agents in every way. So this Saturday, yes, I am.
But when you're building, when someone's growing, they should be hitting every
100%.
Saturday.
And if it's in my farm, I'm definitely doing it still today.
How do you define your farm? Is it a neighborhood? Is it an area? Is it a few of them?
So when you're choosing your farm, you really do want to be intentional. We're looking, I like at least an 8% turnover for my numbers, but you should be constantly reevaluating your turnover in your farm to make sure that the numbers make sense for the investment. I think now my turnover is like at 6%, but because I farm so much, it's higher. But you should be running your numbers on your farm to make sure that your farm makes sense. For me, it is a community. I've got about 2,500 homes on my farm, but I've grown that. Like I started with 350.
Okay.
Right, so.
How did you pick? Can you break, like if someone in this room doesn't have a farm and is like, I'm going to go pick a farm, where would they start?
So I think it makes sense to start where you live because it's easy, but it doesn't always mean it's a good farm. So I think barriers to entry are really important to consider. If it's gated and you can't get in, that sucks. Like, I would kind of maybe take that off my list. I think also considering how many primaries versus 4 nationals is important because you got to market to those very differently. I think average price point, obviously compensation is super important. Does it make sense for your goals? And then finally, that turnover rate, I think is super important. Now, bonus points if there's like, you know, amenities where you can kind of hang out. I mean, I got my first couple sales, like buying people beers, honestly, just like going in and talking to people, never meet a stranger in my life. So if there's a kind of community center where you can hang out, where you can host events or whatever, definitely bonus points for that.
So do you just reach out to the people that run it, or where does it start?
I never met a stranger in my life. So I schmooze the HOA like crazy. I take them gifts. I have it on my calendar every quarter to be their best friend, and anytime I ask for something, they always will do me a solid. But I save it for when I need it. Don't cash in on silly stuff, right?
Love it. Any other open house stuff while we're talking about it?
No, I think that's all
Any
I
open
got
house
for y'all.
questions from the audience? Because I'm going to go to another something else. Yeah, let's hear it.
Every month at minimum.
Tell us about them. What do they look like? How do you break down a year? How do you plan it?
So I like to do kind of a mix of things, right? December's always going to be every single home I sold on my farm on that postcard. So some years that's like 30, right, just in that farm. So I think people are always really impressed with that one, and it gets me good engagement for quarter 1. In August, I like to send the back-to-school calendar. People always save that, and now they literally ask me for it if I don't send it right on time. And now I kind of split that one into 2 because it gets such good engagement. So those are some that are like rinse and repeat for me. Some are obviously going to be just solds, look what your neighbor's up to, blah, blah, blah. QR codes for video I think is really cool to send out, something different. I do giveaways for engagement. I do contests for engagement on my postcards. So it's not just like house. People want to feel like they know you. I put my dogs on my postcards. If anybody knows me, you know I have huge dogs. People love to see that, and I think you've just got to make it you, right? If it's super cookie cutter, I think people get bored and they just throw it away, right? So even if it's a little, out of the box, but it stands out, then I think, it's doing its job.
Love it. Let's talk about lead generation beyond the open houses. And by the way, for those of you were talking to people about all this, how many of you guys use Applaud or some kind of AI note taker? Like 5 of you, 4 of you, okay, 10 of you. All right, if you don't, you should look this up, Plaud. You can wear it as a clip. It can be a little thing that fits in the back of your phone. It's an AI note taker that's going to basically give you notes transcribed on all your conversations. And there's different ways to set up the app. You can have it, like there's different styles of note taking that might fit for different things you're doing. But if you're running something like an open house or whatever, or you're doing, I think, was it you I was talking to about it, Matt? Okay, I won't steal his thunder. I'll let him talk about this when he talks about listing appointments and whatnot. But I forgot mine today, or I'd have it taking notes on the masterclass. And that's one thing I may start sending out at the end. But anyway, doing something where you're actually recording not recording, but you're getting a record, notes of the things you talked about so that you don't overlook stuff. Just a random thought. Plaud, Plaud. Yeah, like I didn't realize that's where it came from, but you learn something new every day. All right, so you started by doing open houses, farming, whatnot, and at some point have too many leads and need people to help with them. Mm-hmm. What's building the team actually look like? How did you first start? Where is it at now? And what are some of the lessons you've learned in building the team?
Yeah, so full transparency, when I had my own brokerage the first time, I built a team and I don't think I did the best job. And the thing about me is I'm not afraid to fail or make mistakes. Like, I kind of enjoy it, actually. So my first team I don't think was my most successful. So when I moved to Compass, I was like, okay, I see these holes in my business. Like, how am I gonna kind of fix this? I think what I did differently with this team is that I don't lead actually with production. I think I lead a lot more with just like my gut. It's usually pretty spot on. I know that sounds like not solid advice, but it's true. And I think collaboration is the most important thing on our team. What I also really work hard on is making sure that we have team members in different areas. I really want to be always mostly client focused, right? So I like that we cross-refer a lot. I don't have my agents from Sanford driving out to Davenport, right? So I like that we can say we genuinely cover all of Central Florida and we're all super hyper local at the same time. And I think that's made us a lot stronger. We can share so much that way. And that's the difference. I'm also really big on just systems and processes, but I also want to work with people that are just coachable, right? People that want to grow year over year, and every single agent on our team has. So I'm very particular at this stage, right? Your reputation is everything, but I just lead with my gut. Like, I want people that are kind, I want people that are obsessed, and I want people that are coachable. Outside of that, we can make them anything else, and it doesn't matter if they're new or experienced. Sometimes I like new agents because they don't have bad habits yet. So it's not really like a specific avatar. It's like a specific feeling that you get.
Love it. All right. I'm going to bring up another person, and we're going to keep going because I have a feeling that my next couple questions, they're all going to want to answer. So it might make more sense to do it all in a row. So let's just add somebody to the conversation.
Okay, let's do it.
We're not done with Luana, but I'm going to bring up Matt Wheatley. He's the broker of Wheatley Realty Group in Lake County. It's an independent brokerage built from the ground up, selling 200 plus homes, $80 million in volume a year, while producing himself, ranked in the top 100 agents last year. I think he was in the top 75, but I might be slightly, was I right? Yeah, something like that. But anyway, let's give him a giant round of applause. Let's set you up over here. Let's just pull your chair a little bit, make this work for you. Here you go. Thank you. All right. Hey, Dave, tell me if I'm in the wrong spots for your cameras in some way. Let me know if I screwed anybody up. All right, let's go to your backstory. How did you get started, and how did your team start?
Okay, so how I got started was my mom said, "Get your real estate license." For all of you that don't know me on that kind of personal level, I'm an immigrant. I moved here when I was 12. My mom tried to start every business she could in England. She moved here, jumped into real estate, and opened her own brokerage in 2 years. So you guys are in an awesome spot as far as growing a business, and it's the land of opportunity for a reason. For that specific, completely just blanking at the moment. Sorry. Anyway, so I got my real estate license. I didn't really like people, which is kind of funny to be in this business. But mostly because of our immigration story. We got stuck. September 11th happened. Went through a lot of stuff with that. So as we came back, we finally made it back. My mom taught me a lot of perseverance stuff through that. She started her business again.
Sorry, guys, it's my fault.
Okay.
I won't
Make
walk
sure it
near
wasn't
that
me.
speaker again.
Anyway, she got me to get my license. I was like, I'm going to go work on cars. The guy that I worked on cars with told me I was good with people. I said I don't like people. So then, anyway, I kind of realized my ceiling was here with cars. I got into the real estate that way. The way I got my team, a brokerage, if you will, because we don't really have a team, is that it was through natural attraction of just continuing to do what I was doing. I didn't really try to start a team. I didn't have too many leads to start a team, so this is kind of a cool separate thing that you're going to hear from other people. But that's how I started. Brandon's here with me today. He said, hey, Matt, I want to do what you're doing. It looks cool, looks fancy, because that's what we put on social media, right? And then from there, just kind of grew through natural attraction, and that was in 2017, 2018.
Y'all just turn me off? Okay, perfect. I appreciate what you were doing, though. All right. Let's talk about the lead gen, just like Luana did. Like, how did you start generating leads, and how did you generate enough leads to know you wanted to build a team?
All right, so I started with just my sphere, my circle. I started in property management. If most of you I don't know if you guys know that, but my mom had a property management company. I started working the rental leads, and then I partnered with a lender that was helping turn those rental leads into first-time home buyers. So I did a lot with the MCC tax credit. I don't know if many of you know about that. Our area in Lake County is big on USDA loans, or it was. So that was huge back then. And that just turned into, I would share my success story for that person. We bought with $1,000 down. Here's your mortgage payment. Your MCC tax credit pays one of your mortgage payments a year. Shared that story on social media a lot. And then I remember one day coming home from Lake Mary somewhere for a closing, posted about the story and got a phone call. I want to do that too. And that's how the leads started to come in.
How did you find out about a niche? Like, how did you find that niche?
I would say I fell into it through property management, but really it was just a passion of learning and helping people, and that's kind of transferred into the brokerage to where it is now.
So if I'm hearing you right, you found a value proposition in real estate that you could push and tell people, did you know about this?
Yeah, and
that was just what you started marketing is, do you know about this, and this would make sense in this market, and start to find leads?
I know a lot of people, maybe they agree with me now on it, but back then I used to tell people, like, well, you can't be successful in real estate without a CRM. I said, well, Facebook is my CRM. They're my contacts. Like, that's how I stay in front of them. The big thing that I did hit a plateau for a while because it was big sphere, and I needed to grow that. And I went with a company called Street Text, and I think they still do marketing. It's kind of like building an online farm. They call it digital door knocking. It's been around for a while, but I got to a plateau where I could only do like two deals a month with my sphere. It wasn't growing, so then I had to expand that reach, and I just went through a Facebook marketing because my Facebook engagement for my sphere was good enough, and I just expanded that through Facebook marketing.
Talk about it. Break it down for me. Like, what types of things were you doing on Facebook that people aren't doing?
That's when I switched more into listings. So it was like 2016, 2017, and then 2018. I remember my first month when I had 4 closings and they were all listings, and I was like, huh, this is weird. I'm not driving buyers around. It didn't feel like as much work because you've already done the work in the past, right? You get them up to that point. Versus buyers are very much you do the work and then you're driving them around and then you get your contracts. So Street Text was it's like $500 a month, I think, and then you can push however much you want in ads. But it was big for like what's your home worth ads back then. And it got me a lot of leads. I failed a few times. I'm a big fan of failing too. You have to. The only way you fail is if you don't learn from it, really. But we went and took people CMAs to their door, and they're like, "I didn't do this. What are you doing? Why are you here?" So they're like, "Okay, we're gonna stop doing that." So we actually put them on a farm, a mailing list through Remind, and we stayed on top of them instead of picking a farm of just a community, we picked all these people that raised their hand and said, I want to know what my home's worth.
Sweet. So what did that grow into? And do you have something to add to that? Because you tell us about
Both
how
work,
that
by the
evolved.
way. They both work.
How did that evolve from being a solo agent to building out a squad?
Yeah, so I didn't ever get to the point where I thought I had too many deals to handle myself. It was more of an attraction to people in my sphere that are like, I like what you're doing, I want to do it too. So we set up our brokerage as like, hey, if you like what I'm doing and you want to do it, let me teach you how to build your own sphere versus a team having too many leads and then being dependent on the team leader.
Love it. Love it. So I want to talk to all of you about value propositions on what they depend on you for, but I'm going to skip that for now because I'm going to let all four of you talk about that. Let's talk about how you picked what area you want to farm. What are we talked about it with Luana earlier. What are some of the things you look for?
For me, it was a lot to do location-based with just moving to Lake County, living there for so long and loving it out there compared to the city life. I feel like the suburban life, I mean, everyone has a different preference for where they want to live, right? It's not like Florida's better than New York or whatever. It's just there's more. Some people want to live here. Some people want to live there. Some people want to live in suburbs of Florida. Some people want to live on the coast. I hear a lot of people on social media that I do now that say there's no way I'd live in Central Florida, yet we're growing like crazy. They're building everywhere. So the beach life isn't for everyone, but that's just different people's perspective. So I just picked, we're kind of going through a, love where you live type thing because we love where we live. Like we truly do believe in that. Like Luana said, if you believe in the community that you live in, it's authentic. I've been there 20 plus years now. I've never really decided I wanted to move. Went to Utah last week. That was great, but I don't want to move there.
Love it. All right. Let's bring up the other two, just because the more I go down this list of questions, the more I realize these questions are just going to be things that you should all be able to chime in on. So I'm going to bring up first Chris Feemster's in the building. I want to read this because he gave me a pretty funny bio. But $177 million sold last year by the Strata Group with LPT Realty. He's also out in Lake County, correct?
Yes, sir.
And hold on, let me read what he wrote because it was kind of funny. I'm not going to say everything he wrote. The first line was big and sexy, obviously. Obviously, I wasn't going to read that, but I had to. Licensed 2015, sold 80 homes his first 18 months in the business. He's pacing for 800 units and $300 million in 2025. And Ocala, Mount Dora, Orlando, and Jacksonville. That's pretty badass. Let's bring up Fernanda. She's no stranger to this stage. With over 16 years of real estate experience, Fernanda's the proud owner of Nova Real Estate. One of her specialties is serving foreign clients in Central Florida. Originally from Brazil, she consistently ranked in the top 50 agents in the area, and her team sold over $108 million last year. Let's give her a round of applause. Sorry to do that all disjointed. The longer I went down the list, the more I'm like, I'm not going to make everyone repeat the same things over and over. So let's just go with the question I'm going to ask all of you. We'll get to your stories later. But let's go with culture and fit. Like, how do you guys decide who fits your team, what fits your team, and how do you implement the culture that you want? I'll start with you, Chris. It's a random one to start you with, but I know you're ready. Hit the left button until it turns green. I think that is.
Hello. All right,
Also, Matt, make sure you talk into it because they can hear you, but the Zoom might not be able to. Hold it close to your mouth when you talk.
So your question was culture?
Culture. Yeah, how do you build it? How do you grow it? What's it look like?
Yeah,
How do you instill it?
On our team, we have a strict no drama policy. It's in our team agreement. If you got drama, we're not the place for you. We build culture from within. For us, we actually care about our agents. We actually care about the money that they make. We care about their goals. We care about their targets. We help them build that stuff. We don't make it about us. I don't make it about me. I'm the team leader, but I'm not on any signs. The production doesn't go under me. It's really about building the people, helping them come in from wherever they are, wherever they start, and help them get to where they're going on an annual, gradual basis. We serve each other. For us, it's everybody starts somewhere, and as you grow, your responsibility is to reach down and help the next person. And if you don't, we'll let you go. We want to build a culture of support, helping the next person, growing together. And if your ego gets big, we're going to let you go. If you're a Cancer, we'll let you go. If you have drama, we'll let you go. we want to have fun. My big thing is I want to have a high quality of life and make a lot of money. Most people don't think they can do both. For me, I love to have fun. I love to travel. I love to do cool shit. And I also like to make money. And so I'm going to focus on all of those things. And we want our team to be able to do the same thing. And most people come and they think if they make a lot of money, they can't have a good life, or if they have a good life, they can't make a lot of money. And so we teach them the opposite of that. And I think it's served us pretty well so far.
That left button until you turn green.
Here.
I thought she was good here.
So for me, the main thing is collaboration. Like I don't want people that are selfish or that they have the ego too. And the way that I try to build my culture in my team is I want to make sure that whoever we hire, they're going to be able to participate. Like we usually have a lot of meetings at the office, like every 2 weeks. We host an in-person meeting. I want you to be there because I wanted to get to know you. My main goal is I want to know my agents. I want to be part of their transactions. I call them all the time. I want to know what's going on with that deal. I will call their agents, their clients with them. And I'm going to help them the best way I can. And also, like at our office, it's not like, let's say one of our agents get a listing. The way that we do, it's like our listing. So we're all sharing. We're all hosting open house on the same property. There's no such a thing as, hey, can I do this? We don't even ask, because this is one thing that I also mention when people sign up with us. It's like, hey, when you sign up with us, you have to understand that we all gonna work together as a team, even though you do have your clients. And I think this is the main thing. And I don't know, I host a lot of events, but for me, the main goal is I tell all of my agents, you're not alone in this. Because when I started my business, I used to cry. There's those deals that you're like, yesterday I almost cried, I'm not gonna lie to you. I had those deals is about to fall down, and the client was calling me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is hard. So I wanna cry with them, I wanna laugh with them, and I wanna be part of it, of every single part of their journey in this real estate life, and that's the main thing.
Love it. Luana.
So
we talked a little bit about culture, but I want to let you dive into it.
It's my favorite part, I think one of the first questions that I always ask is, have you ever thought about running your own business? I really want to work with people who are committed to themselves, people that are dedicated to getting better. Like, you can tell people everything that they need to do, spell it out for them, give them the plan, but I really want those people that are going to be implementers. So if the answer to that question is no, then they're not for me straight away. The answer to that question is yes, I've thought about owning my own business, but maybe I'm looking for some mentorship. That's my person. I also, like I said, community is just so important to me, so I really want to dive deep with agents who are wanting to participate in the community and build our brand that way. And then overall, just like you kind of mentioned, no drama and just an abundance of kindness. That is definitely the way that we run our business.
All right, Matt.
For me, I'd say your vibe attracts your tribe, right? That's pretty much whatever you lead with, you're going to attract, and then, as Chris said, protect it. If there's a cancer in there, one of my favorite follows is Simon Sinek, and he has that famous, I don't know if any of you have seen it, the Navy SEALs, how they attract people. They'd rather have a low performer of high trust than the opposite. So, I think that's pretty much the way anyone that's trying to build a team should go is reflect on your, like, why you want to build a team to begin with, and then set that example yourself and attract the people that want to do the same thing, because if you have things in common with people, you're going to get along with them a lot better.
Which of you was I talking to about building a team for the right reasons instead of your ego? Was that you or was that Luana?
Probably all of us.
Yeah.
Probably all of you. Can y'all talk about that for a second? What are the right reasons to build a team? Or should I go down the whole line and get that? Here, real quick. You talked about culture. I'm going to come right back to this. I got two people I want to ask about their culture. Mark Raulmaker sold $90-something million as a team last year. How about your culture?
Hi, I'm a guest speaker now.
I'm going to pick on Dominic, too.
We all say the same thing, right? It's collaboration. Culture, this is such an isolating business. Fernanda's saying you cry. Like, we all cry because it's so hard. But a team, to me, is like the ultimate group project, right? It's a group project. You give assignments out. You say, go do your thing. You separate, and then you come back and you celebrate together. You get frustrated together. You talk together. And it's really like creating like your tribe, right? The people that you want to be with. Because if you're just a solo agent, that's great. You're doing great. But man, it's lonely, right? You come to these so you can feel part of something. But if you have a great team or a great brokerage, like, you're kind of unstoppable, right? More power in numbers, right?
Love it. Dominic's team did, I don't know, 125 million or something like that, or more than that last year. So they sold a ton. He was on our panel last month, was it 2 months ago? Earlier this year. How about you, culture?
Hello? So I was on the way to pick up my boat, so you guys can see my professional attire today, shorts and polo. So sorry not to be dressed.
Hey, we good. That's why I put you on the spot.
You know, when it comes down to culture, guys, the thing that has worked best for me, we did 184 home sales last year, 126 million. And my team has grown organically, and the best members of the team that have joined was when I was not looking for a team member. Because that's when I was able to focus on actually bringing in the right person and focusing on the quality of what was coming in, not the quantity of how big my team was growing. And I also learned that you're going to have a more successful team if you stay lean and mean. Have everybody on your team who focuses on the same mindset as you, has the same goals in mind. And one of the things I love hearing them talking about, and I've got one of my team members with me today, he just happened to be in the area when we stopped in. And, you know, it's about having people who are willing to help. You know, we've got a group chat and we've got a team chat where someone will say, hey, I need help popping a door at whatever. Somebody's going to answer that and jump in within 30 seconds. The whole team is always on board with helping each other out, being part of the team, and ultimately they see each other all as one, not as 25 individuals where we are right now. So just when you grow your team, just focus on the quality of what you're bringing in. And, you know, sometimes a green agent is great, but sometimes an agent that's got 2 years experience and only did 2 or 3 sales but knows how to write contracts and then doesn't do all the stuff there, but has the same morals, integrity, culture, and puts the customer first, is going to be that better agent than hiring 3 brand new ones.
Love it.
So for me, my culture is always just finding someone like-minded who's going to put the customer first, even when it's so uncomfortable, you can't stand it, and you're cringing inside, but always do the right thing and put integrity. That's going to be our number one.
Love it. Let's give them both a round of applause for sharing on the spot. All right. I'm going to go to you, Fernanda, and let you talk about the lead generation. How did you build your sphere or database, and how do you help your agents generate leads?
For me, it's a funny story because, you know, I'm from Brazil. So when I got my license, I had no rich friends, no rich parents. And I was like, okay, I got my license, let's do this. And honestly, I started building my leads, my clientele with the rental. So I was a big rental rental agent. And I used, like Luana said, I used to go to all those communities, like the condo communities, and I used to bring the managers, you know, like gift cards and all the security guards. And then weekly, I was getting so many calls, all these people, they wanted to rent. And I was making enough to pay for my gas, you know, and my insurance every month while I get a buyer or a seller. And one day, the community manager called me because she had a seller who called them to sell their home. So they become my client. He's my client today after 15 years. And, you know, we went through multiple transactions. And my main thing is like for you to focus on your relationship, because we're always looking for the deal, but we're forgetting about to ask the right questions, to get to know our clients, you know. And once you do that, no matter, you're gonna start small, but you're gonna build your book of clients. They're gonna be so loyal to you. And within time, it's only gonna get easier. So for the new agents, when I have a new agent who comes to join our brokerage, I give them a to-do list that they have to complete within 90 days. And in this to-do list, they do have to take some rental clients because all those rental clients, they're gonna become first-time home buyers. They're gonna use you, you know, if you do a good job with them, of course. They have to host open house. And I'm very big on open house as well. I think it's, you know, you have to do. I mean, if you have no connections and no, this is a great way for you to at least learn about the area, the price range, you know. That's the other thing too that I feel that a lot of Asians, they forget about it. Like, learn the business, become an expert. Nobody's gonna buy something if you don't know what you're doing. So you always focus on the deal, but you forget to learn, hey, what is the average price here? You know, when, sorry, I'm gonna get a little bit out of the subject. My husband hates me because every time we go somewhere, he's like, please don't talk about real estate. And I'm like, okay, I won't talk about it, you know? And all of his friends, when they start buying homes, I was their agent because every time I would be talking about real estate. So you have to put in your mind, I am the best agent in Orlando, and I'm gonna take care of you better than anyone else. And then you have to ask yourself, would I buy a home with myself? Would you be your client? And if the answer is yes, you're gonna, anybody's gonna use you because, like Luana said, you have to be obsessed with this business. If you're not, then you have to somehow become. And that's how people are going to like you, to use you, and that's it. Mm-hmm.
Love it. Chris, how'd you get started, and how do you help them build leads?
So how did I get started? I got
What's
started
your farm and whatnot, or how did you get started with the leads?
Yeah, I got started with the leads. Was my first 3 months in the business. I sold 0, and I had no idea what I was doing. Just kind of sat in front of my CRM that the brokerage gave me, and I was waiting for somebody to pop in there. I was just waiting for them, and it never happened, by the way. Nobody ever came. It's kind of rude, but the brokerage that I was with gave me a Realtor.com lead, and I worked the hell out of that thing, and it was the only people I had. I showed up every day with breakfast. I was like, what are we doing? Let's go. No, I worked them super hard, and I closed them, and I had no money when I got started in the business, and so I paid my bills, and I had $900 left, and I thought, it's the first deal and the only deal I've ever done. It came from Realtor.com, so I called Realtor.com, and I said, hey, I got $900. How many leads can I get? And they told me how many leads I could get, and I gave them all $900, and that's how it started. So I ate shit for a while, building the business. Got enough money to buy more leads, I bought more leads. I got enough money to get Zillow leads, I got Zillow leads. And I just worked my ass off, honestly. And so we just continued to pour in. So Realtor.com, Zillow, the first agent that joined my team, joined it a year later. And we're just a heavy leads-based team. That's the way I built my business. That's the way we built our business. And so that's how we got started in leads. We're a big flex team now.
And you're talking about internet leads specifically,
correct? Yep, internet leads. So we're heavy on the lead generation, lead nurture. We help our agents turn their customers, even if they generate from us. We help turn those into Sphere for them as the future, as they go into the future. So we give them the opportunity to work the lead that is ours. It becomes theirs. We help them turn those into Sphere. But we're heavy on internet lead generation.
What are you having them do to keep in touch with your Sphere? And then I'm going to ask all of you guys, what do you do, or what do you teach your agents to do to build their Sphere, to keep in touch with their Sphere, to continue to get referrals from their Sphere, and to really grow it strong?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to have an answer, but nobody's great at it. I mean, as far as my experience, agents aren't great at it. They're always looking at the thing that's in front of them. And so for us, we try to take that off of their plate, and we do retargeting campaigns. And so we heavy on social media for the agents, videographer, and really build campaigns that retarget them. Because agents, at the end of the day, from my experience, aren't going to do a great job at nurturing those people and following up with those people. They're going to work on who's in front of them. They're mostly focused on the next deal, and so we try to take that off of their plate and retarget and nurture those people and get them back in front of the agents.
Got it. So what types of systems do you have?
Mostly we're retargeting on Facebook and doing like follow me ads on the internet. We're a heavy internet team. We don't do a lot of farming. We don't do a lot of mailers or any, as a matter of fact. We're heavy on the internet.
Love it. Let's go to you, Fernanda. Talk about how you build your Sphere, keep in touch with your Sphere, and how you teach your people.
I add all my clients to my social media. And every time they post something, a picture of their family, I'll go there, I comment, and I become their friends. And every once in a while, I go back to my phone list, and then I'll send somebody a message here and there to say, hey, how are you? How's the family? So for me, it's really focusing on the relationship. And 80% of my business is repeating clients. And I think it's more like caring about them. And sometimes I send gifts away, depending on the season. Like on Christmas, I've done little like Christmas card, or I pick a list of clients and I send them, I don't know, I have to, it depends on what it is, but I send them like a Christmas gift, you know. So I'm very big on the relationship. And we don't buy leads at the office. Pretty much all of our clients are based on our relationship. And I think the main thing is for you to be in front of them. And sometimes, you know, like you said, we're not going to win all the time. You're going to see a client of yours who bought a home with someone else. But then, you know, if you do a good job, guess what happens? They're going to notice that you're better than the second agent, and they're going to come back to you. That has happened to me before, like several times. So just make sure that their transaction, it can get, you know, like, sometimes it's not as smooth, but the way that you end your transaction, that's what they're going to remember. So make sure you show up for closing, that you go over your numbers before you get to the closing table and the wires transfer to make sure there's no surprises. Bring them a closing gift and make it a memorable time, because no matter how hard the transaction is, this is what they're going to remember. And just be big on the relationship. And for me, this is what works, you know?
Is there anything else you do to make sure that that last memory at the closing table is special? Is there anything else you say? Is there anything you do to follow up, or did you just nail all the steps?
No, I personalize each closing gift to my clients, you know, like to make sure that it's going to be a gift that they're going to be suited to them. And a lot of times we do closings at my office, and we pop the confetti, and sometimes we open the champagne. And, you know, I tell them I'm going to miss them because we talk every day for like 30 to 40 days, you know?
They got
and then it's
like, in their house.
Yeah, and then I also offer services like, hey, let me help you with your utilities, you know, because clients are busy, so you have to go above and beyond. So we try to create
setting them up, you mean?
Yes, so we set them up for them, you know, their trash can, their water.
Wow.
So, and then, you know, they're just going to feel, wow, this is easy. This is better than my last experience. And this is what it is.
One of these sessions, I'm going to have to let you and Allison talk about taking care of clients, because I have a feeling you have a lot in common after last month. Lou, let's hear about your sphere, how you keep in touch with it, and how you teach your people to.
So I'm just simple. I think when you get into this business, you get bombarded with all these tools and all these things that you need, and people just want to throw money at their problems instead of just kind of doing the work and using what you have. Yesenia was out with me the other day. I'm like 7 to 7. I don't stop all day, but I live and die by my calendar. So our team literally just has a recurring tasks calendar, and it's plug and play. And if it's on the calendar, it's going to happen. If it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. So when we say we do 4 customer appreciation events a year, we already know what those are. They're planned. We've got the time to plan for the plan on there. So you just have to be really intentional with your schedule. And I think, especially with agents that we bring on, they feel like they have to fill up every single second. You don't have to in the beginning. It's okay to not be busy all the time. Busy is not productive, but be intentional. Time block. If you make the time for follow-up, you will follow up. And the thing I always say is, do what you want to do least first. If you don't want to do that follow-up, get it out of the way in the morning, because you'll talk yourself out of it. You'll change your mind. So it's just, honestly, being disciplined. When you wake up, it's got to be like, I'm unemployed today. What am I doing? Right? This is a contact sport. So essentially, it's simple. It's on the calendar. Do the dang follow-up to get the deal. That's just what it is.
Let's hear what you time block. Give me some
Every single
examples
thing
of
in
what's
my
important.
life. Like yesterday, I was like, I have 4 minutes. Tell me, get me on the call, and we'll get it done. You know, that's how I am. I time block every single thing.
So an average day,
It's
how
not
many
fun,
things are?
it's not sexy, but it's necessary to be, like, you know, high performing. I think you just have to be on a schedule.
How many things go in your schedule an average day, you think?
A lot.
Like 5 or like 25?
Probably like
Or
25.
like 50?
Yeah. And sometimes Madison will call me, my assistant, and she'll say, I don't know where to put this today. And I'm like, we'll make the day longer. It's okay. But we have to get it done, right? So now I kind of time block days. So like Monday will be an admin day. Tuesday will be a team day. You know, I block days that way instead of, well, not instead of, in addition to hour by hour. But that's also what I teach my agents, for sure. I think learning to get in control of your schedule will make you so much more successful in the long run. And it's like getting ahead of that.
Any
Not
other,
just letting things happening to you, like go happen to the things.
any other
know?
tips or tricks for how you manage time blocking at a high level? Anyone else want to add something to
Give
time
yourself
blocking?
some grace. Just look at the list and get it done. I mean, there's no excuses, you know. That's
Matt.
it.
Yeah, I'd say with time blocking, the big thing is like being honest with yourself. Like actually put it all down and then reflect on it. Like Wednesdays are our training days. So it's our training. We can do a couple of things around that. It can be outside training, inside training. But I'm a big fan of like keep it in a general sense, and then you can break it down into the macro.
And just to like piggyback on that, one of the first things I ask agents to do when they're struggling is to track their days. And I think most people are shocked how much they actually don't work.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, you did 3 hours of work, so like, why are we surprised with your numbers, right? So yeah, you were scrolling on Instagram, you had a stomach ache, whatever the heck it was, you know. So if you really want to get intentional, hold yourself accountable. How much work did you do? Why are you in the car and then back at the desk and then in the car and then back at the desk? Block it together. You'll be so much more efficient than switching back and forth.
So Matt and I talked about how he audits himself and looks at, right? We talked about how he looks at and reflects on the time blocking, but I'll share a thought or two and I'm going to ask you about it. And that's like actually realizing how long an activity takes, because a lot of us think something's going to be 30 minutes and we would give a 30-minute block, but we don't realize we always do it in 9 or we always do it in 49. And we screw it up because we're like, about 30 minutes. Like, you have to sometimes go back to your calendar at the end of the week or at the end of the day and actually reflect on whether or not it matched up or whether it didn't work. So if you go 4 or 5 days in a row and you're like, I give 30 minutes for admin, but you really only need 17, or you really actually always need 45, like you don't keep making the same mistake over and over and over and over and over. And the average person actually does just keep making the same mistake and rounding things. Like they're always 5 minutes late because they always think it's only 30 minutes away, but it's 37 minutes away, and they never come on time. And so these are the types of things that we could all easily mess up, but we could also audit and look at. The other thing I thought I'd share about this, Richard Aybar was on our panel, I think a month or two ago, and he talked about at the end of every day, he actually clears every call on his phone and goes through it. And I don't clear every call anymore, but I'll archive it now, just hearing him say it, because I'll actually go through and make sure that anyone I actually spoke to today, number one, was followed up with in whatever way I'm supposed to, or number two, I can actually tell how many contacts I really made in a day, at least through my phone. I can go on social and check, how many went through Instagram, Facebook, those types of things, email, but a lot of us don't really know, do we make 12 calls a day, 112 calls a day, 200 calls a day, or 25? And those are pretty big gaps. So I would just recommend everyone actually takes the time, puts it in your schedule to audit yourself and see if your time blocking is even using like realistic metrics. So just a thought. Matt, do you want to add to how you audit yourself though?
Yeah, I'd say, who time blocks for putting out all the fires, right? Or someone calls you and they want to list a house and they want to see you in the next 2 or 3 hours, right? So you've got to be flexible and you've also got to understand how to prioritize. What can you push back? The admin stuff. When you're looking at running a team and a brokerage and producing versus just producing, it's a little different. But as you start to build that team, then you do need to learn how to prioritize and what you can push, what you can't push. You're not going to turn away the $2 million listing for, catching up with your admin. You can do that later. Like you said, make more time in the day.
Love it. Chris, anything you want to add to that?
They pretty much touched on it. Time blocking is important. I think having the same activities on the same days, so I can get some consistency in that. I'm very fortunate. I've got a great team behind me that manages a lot of stuff. My assistant is the only one allowed to manage my schedule. If somebody asks me something, they know that I'm going to get in trouble if I answer them, so they have to go to her, because otherwise I'll screw it up. But I do the same thing on the same days, so that way I know Wednesdays is this day, Thursdays is this
Break
day.
it down for us.
So I handle all my real estate stuff, the team stuff on Wednesdays. I flip houses, so I'll do my mortgage stuff's Tuesdays, real estate stuff's Wednesdays, marketing is on Thursdays, and then Mondays and Fridays are open. So that any loose ends, if I owe anybody anything, if they're waiting on me to do something so they can do their job, that's where I leave those 2 days open. So every day's got a theme, if you will, so I can come into the office and do whatever that theme of the day is.
Fernanda, did I ask you about this?
No, but I will answer.
Do you want
that.
to?
So for me, this year I said I have to learn how to say no, because last year I felt like I was running like a chicken everywhere, just because sometimes I want to say yes to everything, and then you end up going to unnecessary meetings. So for me, it's like I'm not gonna meet you. I'm not gonna say this, but I'm not saying a mean way. I just learned how to say no to things that are gonna take up my time. because I'm trying to be nice to you, because I'm a nice person. So now I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have the time right now to go to this meeting or, to take this call. Maybe we can reschedule for later when I'm not that busy. So this is my number one thing. And every Tuesday, I block for my day with the agents. So this is when they want to talk to me about whatever, they have questions or, like to prep a list or something. Like, so I'm available to them at the office, like pretty much all day. And like Luana said, I put everything on my calendar now. And if it's in the calendar, it's going to happen. I'll make it happen no matter what. If it's not, then, I'm probably going to forget about it. So I have to put it down. And the one thing I learned is to delegate too. There's a lot of things that we try to control ourselves, but that can be easy delegated to someone else. So I think this year I'm doing so much better. That was like my number one goal, was learn to delegate a little bit more,
Love it.
I'm going to say one more thing. As an agent, the thing I always focused on was every day you have a plan: prospect, lead, follow-up, appointment, negotiate. And so protect your mornings. Every single morning, you got to prospect. When I was selling houses, prospected every single morning. There's not an appointment. I always say I have an appointment with myself. If that $2 million seller called you and said, hey, I want to see you at 1 o'clock, you're going to go and see that $2 million seller at 1 o'clock. And so you have to have that same level of intentionality with yourself to get on the phone and call people every single day. So prospect, lead, follow-up, appointment, negotiate. And as long as your days look like that, there's going to be some ebbs and flows. There's going to be some people that are in town for the day and you got to go do some stuff. So you can't beat yourself up. But if you follow that plan every single day, you're going to find success. So as an agent, I would definitely focus on that. Stack your mornings for income-producing activities, and then stack your afternoons for, out in the field work and things of that nature, as opposed to being in the car, out of the car. Be in the car in the afternoon, be in the office on the phones in the morning.
You made me think of two things that I want to share, Fernanda. And that is, when you talk about people asking you for meetings, one of the easiest ways to start being more efficient with your time is to make people email you either a sentence or two that explains what the meeting's about, or their questions that they're going to be asking in the meeting. So when someone says, hey, I want to chat with you for coffee, my response is now, for the most part, is like, if I don't actually know what it's about, I ask them, hey, I'd love to meet with you for coffee. Do you mind shooting me over a quick text, a quick email, whatever, with a sentence or two about what you want to discuss? Or if we know what you're discussing your questions about blank, I'm going to ask you, can you send me your questions about blank so that we're prepared for the meeting? Because half the people aren't going to send it and we're never going to have to meet. Half of them are going to send it. Our meeting's going to be way shorter, quicker, or more efficient. But so many of us just spend we might have a 30-minute gap or a 1-hour gap. We spend the first 15 minutes shooting the shit instead of walking right in and saying, okay, you had these 5 questions, D, let's talk about them. We've got 30 minutes. The first one is this. And we're on it. He might have taken a whole week or 2 or 3 to think of the questions instead of starting at a meeting and saying, okay, what did you want to ask? He's like, let me think about this. Does that make sense? The other thing there is repeat activities. I hired this coach, Ari Meisel, who wrote this book called Less Doing, More Living. And he would have us audit at the end of a week and write all of the tasks that we were consistently doing and repeating every day, month, and week. So we would actually say, you know what, I keep sending the email that has the prices for this, or I keep sending the email that when someone asks me how to register for this, or I keep sending the text for this. And we kept this list, and then we sat down and actually went through the list and said, how many of these things could be optimized, outsourced, or automated? And we took 90% of those things off of the list of them being things that I do every month. Either my VA does it, automation does it, someone else does it. But if it's a repeated task over and over and over, once we've done it 3 or 4 or 5 times, I'm trained now to go, hey, this has been done 5 times. We don't need to keep redoing this. And we figure out a way to automate it. So those are just 2 little tidbits about auditing yourself. Go ahead, Matt.
I got something about the sphere building. If you noticed, everyone up here, nobody said, I log into my CRM and build my sphere. They all said social media. And I just wanted to hit on that real quick because what changed my perspective on CRMs, and they have their, especially for leads, people you don't know, they have their place. But the thing that changed my perspective on it was nobody hangs out in their email inbox. They hang out on social media. If they're there, show them who you are. That's the best way for them to get to know you, to know that you have big dogs, to know what you're into. And people will call you over the. I got 3 Great Danes too. That's cool. Let's work together. The amount of times I've had that happen, that's the best way if we're talking about growing your sphere to connect with people and get in front of them. That's why I'm a big fan of video.
Love it. Let's talk about team structures and value propositions, because that's one of the biggest questions I got from all the people in the audience. I'll start with you, Chris. We'll just go down the line. Talk about the value proposition of what you offer to your team members, and maybe on the backside, what having a team offers to you. So value prop in both directions, if you will.
Sure. So when I started, when I decided to transition from an agent to open a brokerage, which eventually became a team, I thought about what kind of company I would want to work for. You know, one of my favorite sayings, if you want something done, give it to a lazy person. They're going to find out the easiest way to do it. That's me, by the way. You know, just being real there. And so for me, it's, you know, what kind of agent was I and how did I find success? I found success by doing what I was really good at, getting in front of people, talking to people, getting on the phones with people. I suck at paperwork. Don't ask me to do it. You're not going to like the results. And so I found people to do that stuff for me. And so for me, for us, our value proposition is based on productivity, quality of life. You know, we want to take as much off of the agent's plates as possible, from lead generation to nurture to marketing, you know, the cost of the business. For us, we take care of everything. All the agents have to do is talk to people. And as long as they're good at that, you know, and we're going to train them. We do script every day. We have a morning huddle, 30 minutes every morning. We do script practice, role play. You know, we're heavy on training. We offer a lot of value to the agents from that perspective. And for us, it's get the agents in front of as many people as possible. That's really our value proposition. How can we train them? How can we help them grow as quickly as possible? And whatever it is that they find that they deem success for themselves is how we set their business up with them. So if they want to make 50 grand, we help them make 50 grand. If they want to make 150 grand, we help them make 150 grand. And so for us, it's not about us, it's about them. And that's our value proposition. And then what was the other question you asked me?
I think you answered it, but talk about the value prop for you.
The value prop for me is quality of life. You know, I got to the end of my second year. You know, like you mentioned, we sold 80 homes in our first 18 months, and that shit was hard. It was tiring, and I realized that I didn't really want to do that again, to be honest with you. You know, I thought, how can I make more money? How can I continue to grow? And how can I enjoy my life? And so I decided to take some time for reflection and build something that served me that also served other people. And so I don't really want to sell houses personally anymore. I did it, you know, understanding the means to an end, being a buyer's agent, working with as many buyers as I could, getting as much experience as I could, starting to work with sellers, and kind of perfecting, if you will, my craft so that I could teach other people. And so the value proposition for me is my life's pretty cool. I'm going skiing next week. I like to have fun and go do cool stuff. I love the people that I work with. I get to help other people achieve their goals and see a side of life that they maybe didn't think was possible for them or that they hadn't seen before. And for me, that's highly valuable. And so I have a high quality of life. You know, I don't want a seller to call me at 4 o'clock on a Saturday when I'm hanging out with my daughters. I would rather them not call me, quite frankly. And so I built something that they don't call me.
They call your team.
What's that?
They call your team.
They call the team. And, you know, I have a handful of people. Everybody on the team has access to me via Slack. But there's a handful of people that can call me and I'll answer it at any time. And so I built a life that I enjoy. And doing that, I get to help other people build a life that they enjoy. And so that's the value prop for me.
Love it. Fernanda? Value proposition to your team members and vice versa. What's the value to you having them?
For my team, I feel that everybody wants to be part of something. So I want to make sure that they feel they are part of something, you know. So we create this. Sorry, I think my brokerage is great, just so you guys know. And again, you know, I think it's magical. And I feel like I love the city so much, and I'm very passionate about what I do, that I want us together as a team create something that later, you know, we're going to be like, wow, we made it, you know? So for me, it's more like make sure that I am inspiring them. Like if I was a new agent, if I would go work at a new brokerage or at a new team, one of the things I would want to be is work with a top producer, because that's who you're going to learn from. If somebody, I think that me being a producing broker, it's a benefit because, you know, I'm there every day, experience life just like you are. So when we're going to talk about that issue, I'll probably have done that before. So it's going to be easier to to resolve. And again, I'm there for my agents. I love having a quality life too, and that's the end goal. But right now, because I'm growing, I feel like I'm growing my team. It's not possible for me at this moment. I work a lot, and I'm there for my agents anytime they call me. And as far as your client goes, like I feel that if you give them the heads up and the updates through the week, they won't bother you over the weekend because they know what to expect. But for the team, it's more like make sure that they're part of something, and again, motivated them, call them, and coach them the right way, with ethic, being a good person, and being good for your clients, and make sure that you're gonna retain that client forever.
Lou? You were good.
Thank you. Technical difficulties, it's me, sorry. So I kind of was talking to you the other day, and I had a little emotional moment, which I don't have too often, but I mentioned to y'all that I left Compass a couple weeks ago, and they taught me so much, I learned so much, but I was scared. I was like, I might lose my whole team. And but I was feeling the pull. Like I knew I wanted to do it a different way. I wanted to be outside the box. I wanted to show that you can kind of, you can do it your own way. You can build it your own way. That's what's so great about this industry. We all have such different business models, and they're all very successful, and they all work. And y'all, my whole entire team came with me. And that feeling on that day when everybody was like, I'm in, every single person, and I came with more people than I left with, that has changed me forever. And gosh, what has that done for me? I can't even tell you. It's just given me such a maybe delusional belief in myself that, I owe everything back to them. I really do. And we built something really special over the last 4 years, but I think that it was just a really, really cool moment. I don't want to have a little tear, but I might. So it's all very new for us. Outside of that, what do I feel like my value proposition is to my agents is that, when I started in this industry, I had a broker that was like a gatekeeper that didn't exist. And I felt like, good God, if I had somebody that would open up and just tell me things, I would do them. Because I'm like, if someone's already doing it, you go in with a blind faith. So same kind of thing that you said. I was like, what would I want? What would I accept? What would I expect? What would I take? What would I enjoy, right? So I think it's kind of finding that balance that's personal and business. And, watching an agent kind of cry when they get their first listing or have that moment, that's what it's really all about. And it does still make me so excited every day when I'm putting things together for the team. If you're going to lead people, you've got to take it seriously. If you're going to take their time, you've got to take it seriously. There will always be constant access to me. And I think proximity to success is so important to success. But, gatekeeping, we've got to stop that. And so I'm an open book. People DM me on Instagram, and they're like, hey, Lou, where'd you get your boxes? Where'd you get? I'm like, I tell everybody everything. I don't care. I want to see everybody get better. If you know me, I'm an open book all the time, but especially with my team. I deep dive with them on everything. I take them on all my appointments. I want them to be the literal best agents in the industry. So that is what we're always pushing for.
Love it. Matt?
Yeah, I have never worked for a franchise, so that comes with its own setbacks. One of them was trying to figure out what my value proposition would be. So I went through everyone's ICA I could find, who does this cap, who incentivized with stock share. I don't have that, so I couldn't do that. So really the big thing for me was because the team was built around not me having too many leads, but being an attraction to wanting to do what I did. It was okay, if I'm going to spend my time building this team, how do I make sure that they're not going to leave me for just monetary reasons once they learned everything they can from me? Because, it makes sense, right? If you're going to build a team, they can love you all they want, but if they're going to go make more money over there, eventually they'll do that. And we've had pretty good retention with what we have come up with. So that was a big part for me. And then as far as why you want to build a team, if you guys do want to build a team, I think that's the best question to start asking. If you have more leads, I get it. You want quality of life, time, et cetera. But for me, it was I could only make so much impact by myself. I was by myself for so long in the beginning. I started getting busier. Again, I wasn't at the point where I necessarily needed somebody else when I started attracting people for a team. And it grew really quick once we put that structure in. People just, I never advertised that we were hiring. So once people start seeing it, they were like, oh, they are hiring. I want to join in. So it was really about making a bigger impact. We're big in our community. We have 4 quarterly charities we give back to. We want to be part of. The best realtor is part of their community. They know the HOA manager. They know we're problem solvers for just making things easier for everyone. So be intentional with that stuff, and especially business to business. All your vendor partners in here, they'll be your biggest cheerleaders.
Am I off? Okay. I want to ask one question from the audience member who was on our panel last month. Allison, do you want to talk about culture or lessons learned from growing your team and changing and pivoting your team?
Okay, so when I first started my team, I gravitate to people with stories. So probably not the best way to initially build a team, but I wanted everyone that came into my brand, right, to feel like they had a seat at the table. And I train a lot on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and what that tells you when you're training on it is meeting people where they are in their walk. So when I'm sitting across the table from people or I'm having those conversations, I'm making sure that I'm really in line with where they are. And I'm a little different. Like, I know that they'll find a place in my brokerage and we'll build off of that. A lot of times people will say, I don't care, let's take sports for example. You can't necessarily, you can train the sport, but you can't train the athlete, the mindset. And if I knew that that was in there somewhere, right? And for me, it may have been a single mom and a full-time job that just needs an escape and a new fresh start. I could meet them there. And so I built training protocol individualized for the people where they are in their walk. And then collectively, we come together as a group. So a lot of my training is open table. We sit down at a table and we're like, hey, let's try a new CRM. And I'm like, you try that one, I'll try this, and 30 days later, let's get back together. So we're really, really in the trenches together. And I agree a lot with, I'm a producing broker. But I love that because I'm not gonna tell you to do something behind the desk if I'm not walking the talk. So I'm not like, go knock on 50 doors and I'm having margaritas. Like, that's not my jam. Like, I'm like, okay, do I need to show up and help you knock on those 50 doors? So like, I just lead a little bit different that way, and I just lead with a servant's heart. So if people aren't in my company with a servant's heart, I pretty much, I don't care if you do 20 million a week, you're just not for me.
Love it. Let's give it up for Allison sharing on the spot.
Thank you.
All right, I got one more question for these panelists because I know we're running over. So my last question, and I'll give you guys, you can pick between 2 questions actually. How about that? My question is going to be about either how you help a struggling team member, how you either give them motivation, get them back on track, deal with challenges in their whatever they're dealing with, or how you analyze profitability of team members, staff members, the whole structure, all that stuff. So either or. If you want to talk about numbers, if you want to talk about motivation and results, I'll let you, Chris.
I got to pick one of those, huh?
You got to pick whichever you'd rather answer.
All right. Well, I'll talk about the agent side. So for us, we talked about the time audit, doing a time study with them and understanding what does their actual day look like, making sure that their stuff is in their calendar. And, for us, we're heavy on KPIs. And so we track how many calls, how many conversations, appointment set, appointment met, how many contracts did you sign, how many actually went under contract, how many closed, and we track all that stuff. And so for us, kind of what you said, meet the agent where they're at. Everybody's different in a different part of their journey. And so we meet them where they're at and we talk to them. The reason we track all that stuff is because if you've got an agent that's like, oh, I'm working super hard, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but I'm not finding success, you don't know where to dig in on their business. You're like, okay, cool. Well, what I would suggest is work harder, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. And so for us, it's like, where in the process are you getting stuck, right? Are you making the calls? If you are you having the conversations? If you are, let's listen to those conversations. Do they suck? Are you doing a good job? What could you say differently? Are you setting the appointment? When you get on the appointment, what are you saying? Let's role play that. Are you actually going for the close? Some agents I've learned are afraid to make the sale. Like, somebody's like, oh, I love the house. And they're like, cool, call me later. And so where on the journey are those agents at? And we meet them where they're at so that we can help them kind of get over that hump and get to the next step. And so we're very KPI driven. All of our sales managers focus on those every single month. We do a one-on-one with all of our agents. And that's how we help them get, if there's mindset stuff or there's life stuff, like, we are people first, and we're always going to help them through that stuff. No matter where you're at in the organization, from me to the brand new agent, we all got shit going on in our lives. Life is tough for everybody. And so we're always going to be there for them in that regard. But as it relates to the business, we're going to find out where they're getting stuck, and we're going to help them through that stuff. And a lot of it's just a belief that they can actually do it. And so that's what we do.
For me, I feel that every time I have an agent who is struggling, we sit down, and I call it, let's go back to basics. So remember that to-do list that I gave you when you sign up here? Let's go back to that to-do list, because I guarantee you, if you do that for the next 90 days, you're going to get a deal out of it. And that happened over and over and over again. So most of the time, I don't wait for the agent to come to me. I know my agents pretty well, so I will call them, and I said, hey, what's happening? I try to understand what's going on in their life. You know, life is tough, and sometimes you're going through an issue that your work is not going to be your priority. And okay, let's breathe. You know, I'm here for you. If you feel that you have a client, that you can take care of it because of the moment you're going through, we're going to help you out. Let's wave this together, and then let's get back on track, go back to our basics, and do the same process over and over again. And I've tried that with several agents. It works, and that's what I do to keep my agents back on track.
Love it. Lou?
So I think because we're already fairly high touch, we're usually ahead of the game in terms of knowing if someone is behind. So Monday mornings we always have a call. We're right into like pipeline. What are you kind of dealing with? What buyers do you have? Are you dealing with any issues whatsoever? And we can collaborate and work through those at the start of the week. So we like to catch it early, and I think that that's really been effective for us from a team standpoint. Obviously, if somebody needs something one-on-one, I have an agent right now, wrote out a whole calendar for her for the next 45 days with tasks for every single day and what needs to be done, because activity breeds activity. One day you're doing equity packet and you get a listing appointment, and it's not even from that, but you're just doing the work, right? So I think those Monday calls as a team are really helpful to make sure that nobody's falling too far that we can't catch them back up.
Love it. Matt?
All right, so they all answered the agent question, which is great. One-on-ones, being proactive versus reactive. As far as being profitable, I think that's why a lot of people have switched to producing brokerages or producing team leaders. It does allow us to have better splits, lower caps, that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much where I think most people here, if you're in production and you can support the team, you're in the trenches with them, you're in the arena with them, you're staying up to date in all the local, all the new forms, all the new rule changes. You're not on the beach sipping mimosas or whatever, right? So I think there's a sense of like wanting to follow someone for leadership that's doing it, that's walking the talk, right?
Love it. What about profitability for you, though? Anyone? Making sure it's a good value prop for you.
Oh, as far as adding a team member, I think we have everything from referral agents, we have a builder on our team, and it really depends on so long as the expectation is set. If we have our one-on-ones, if you want to sell 5 homes that year, that's great. If you want to sell 50, awesome. And if you fall short of that, we'll go for all that stuff. But
love it. Fernanda, you wanted to add something?
Yes. People, they don't realize that when you decide to create your own team, sometimes you're giving it, a couple of steps backward so you can move forward. Because it does cost, to us, the team members and brokers, a lot of money to create our systems in place. We make a lot of mistakes because we don't know what's going to work, and I'm always trying to get the best tools. I want the best tools for myself, so of course I want the best tool for my agents. So we make a lot of mistakes. I feel that it has to be like a purpose that it's also bigger than the money, because sometimes if you're like a top producer, being a team leader sometimes doesn't even make sense, depending on the month, you will probably make more money just being a single agent than a team leader. So you really need to want that and know that you're going for the long term. It's not something that's going to happen, from in 24 hours. You have to be ready for the step back so you can give the step forwards. And that's what it is.
Love it. All right, how many of you guys learned something from today's panel? Let's make some noise. Let's give them all a round of applause. You can join us back here next month on April 17th, 9:30 to 11. We're going to have a panel called Sell, Buy, Grow, and it's going to be a conversation with some local agents about how they're using real estate to build wealth outside of just selling a lot. So Veronica Figueroa is going to be joining us. Mohammed Khan is going to be joining us. Mario Zindelli, and we'll probably add another person there. But they're going to be another awesome panel. But let's give it up one more time for these awesome panelists and the guests I randomly called on. PJ Crescenzo with Element Mortgage just brought all the pizza for the pizza in the back, so make sure you grab a slice or something on your way out, or just stick around, hang out. For those of you that are hanging around, I'm sure at least a couple panelists might hang out for a minute, or the teams or whatnot. But thank you guys. Thank you to Maitland Civic Center venue on Lake Lily. Thank you to all the sponsors. And Brian, you coming up here? Do we need to take a quick photo? Anyway, one more thing. Let's give a giant round of applause to the people who actually make it happen each and every month. Dave Stewart and his crew with DStewartProductions. If you need live video or audio or video production, or you need a world-class saxophone player at your next event, definitely hit Dave up. And when I say world-class, this guy tours with Al Green, so he's probably the most legit sax player probably within a few-hour drive of here. So let's give a giant round of applause one more time to everybody, and thank you guys for coming out. See you next month.